Very good morning, folks, and a warm welcome to this edition of FinMet Mondays podcast. Sunil, a very warm welcome to you as well. We
Good
are
morning.
at the onset of Diwali, but we would expect demand to slow down with prices being all this all-time high. But there have been reports that physical demand has been picking up, not just in India, but across the world. Wanted to understand what your take on that was. What's been happening on the physical side?
It's a good point, Sean. I mean, I think as we saw the rally up, we've been talking about the fact that physical demand has been very slow. There's been investment demand, and mostly from the West, but in Asia, we saw a reluctance of people buying. We saw discounts because people were actually selling into the rally. So physical premiums were a $10 discount, $5 discount, that kind of thing, and including in China. But what we've seen emerging last week is a little bit of a inversion, a tipping point, I think, where suddenly now we're seeing demand coming in. We're getting reports from customers, from various banks that shipments have picked up again, and that demand is picking up. And I think that's something that's very positive for people in the market, for bulls. What is happening is that people are started looking at higher levels. People are looking at $3,000 against US dollar per ounce, and then people are looking at 1 lakh rupees per 10 grams in terms of gold in India. And so the talk about, oh, it's going higher towards certain round number target, I think is driving people to say, let's buy now before the prices go up. From a technical point of view, what do you see? I mean, what kind of levels and how do you see this playing out in the next few weeks?
This five candlestick charts that we see here, or these bars, is what happened last week. We saw a move up till 2760 right over here, and we saw a pullback down to 2710. And in this $50 defined range, we saw gold largely move. So 2760 remains as this upper resistance level for gold bulls to break. And the moment they're able to do that, that opens very easily the path to breaking 2800. On the downside, like I said, 2710 would be the defining point where we might start to see sellers get back a little bit in control. But on the downside, we see 2680 being the first level of support, followed by 2620. Now, the interesting thing going forward is we always have established this concept of gold establishing certain floors for where prices will never go back below. Now, 2700 is where currently we are a little bit unclear on if prices are able to hold above 2700 or not. And this week can be a real test. You have a lot of economic data points, including the non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate for US that are coming in. And there is a chance that we might test 2700 again, and we might even possibly go below it. If that happens, then that is the answer to the question, which is 2700 a strong floor? But certainly, if not 2700, then we see 2600 being a strong floor because prices have continuously stayed above that level for the past 1.5 months. On US spot silver, this was another bumper week, at least at the start, and then we saw prices correct. We see 35 to be the highest point where silver bulls have managed to take the prices of silver, and we've seen two doji candlesticks that are characterized as doji candlesticks are nothing but candlesticks with very thin bodies but very long wicks, and usually they are signs of indecisions in the market when buyers and sellers are pulling prices in both directions. And you see the formation of these two doji candlesticks here on consecutive days, really telling you that prices are looking for a solid sense of direction, whether they are going to retrace back to 32.7, which is where the pivot is, or they're going to climb back and hit 35 resistance. I think that prices are going to continue to remain in this range between 32.7 and 35, and we need some direction or some breakout between these 2 points to really determine what would be the near-term movement for silver. From a technical standpoint, for both gold and silver, again, the technical momentum is heavily bullish. You see the RSIs, they are firmly above the 60 to 70 zone. Even MACDs, it's not visible on the screen here, but MACDs are firmly in bullish territory. So there's no doubt about the bullish momentum, but we obviously have questions around the sustenance of this bullish momentum and where there are possibilities for a correction. Thanks, Neil. That was a quick roundup of the prices. I think we need a little bit more direction from the levels that we've established to really be able to determine where the near-term price movements are. But let's see how the markets play out this week. And till then, thank you so much and goodbye.